Well, good morning, everybody. To get us started today, I want to show you the last 72 hours of total accumulated precipitation through 7 a.m. this morning. What we've seen lately are troughs that have kind of run north to south along the west coast. That's what's really added a tremendous amount of snow lately to the Sierra Nevada, parts of Southern California. These lows have then ejected pretty far to the south over Arizona and New Mexico and then kind of followed a trajectory like this. We've been talking about that for several weeks now. Now, this most recent one was the one that produced all the severe weather in parts of the southern plains and again in parts of Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio yesterday. I think the grand total over the last 2 days is well over 20 tornadoes and numerous reports of severe winds, but there was a lot of precipitation with all of this as well. Well, the pattern we're still in is going to favor something like this for at least the first week of March before things begin to shift around. We're going to talk about that shift again in a few seconds. But as it stands, the next shortwave is right here. It's coming in and it has been over parts of Oregon now since last night. One part of this wave has already moved out here into the northern plains. I'll show you what that one's going to do in a few moments. But the second wave is going to die farther to the south and emerge later. Let's see here, on Wednesday night into Thursday in the southern plains. That's going to increase the risk of severe storms over the lower Mississippi River Valley back to eastern Texas on Thursday and again over the southeast as we get into Friday. We have some updated maps showing you where that snow is going to be on the northern side of this, but before all of that happens, before that second system comes out, we're still dealing with the remnants of the first and that shortwave that's already left Oregon. So we still have winter storm warnings that are in place in parts of New England. Again, that was from the system that went through the United States on Sunday into Monday. It's still spinning here over New England right now, and it did deliver some snow as far south as New York City last night. The wave that I told you ejected out of Oregon today has got winter weather advisories and a winter storm warning for parts of North Dakota. And the system that's continuing to dive south, that's why there are blizzard warnings out for the Sierra Nevada, a freeze watch for part of the San Joaquin Valley, and very windy conditions in Southern California. Now, speaking of those windy conditions, as this system sets up in the west, we will get very strong winds later today coming over the Rocky Mountains. So this is just the midday wind field. And these stronger winds that are coming over the mountains can be very dry into this area. And that's why the National Weather Service for parts of southeastern Colorado, western Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and then eastern New Mexico have issued a red flag warning for this area. Because the relative humidities later today, look at this, from Colorado into western Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, we're going to be seeing relative humidities this afternoon in that, well, they're going to be mostly below 20%, some single digits here. So strong winds plus very dry conditions could produce blowing dust and sand, but could also produce the risk of fire. So we're going to watch out for that very carefully. Okay, let's go right to the high-res NAM and kind of pick this up this morning let's start about 9 o'clock. So this is still the remnants of the first system moving through New England. You're going to see later today that shortwave that kicks out by this afternoon and this evening going over parts of South Dakota, the northern side of it, stronger winds in the snow. That's where we've got the winter storm warning out. That light snow spreads through parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin where there's already a lot of snow on the ground. Now let me take you back, though, and show you the rest of the day on Tuesday for the west. This other low, the second part of it, slides south here and just adds a lot of snow into the Sierra Nevada, into the Intermountain West, into this area. And then this low continues to curl through Southern California by the time we get into Wednesday morning. And it's going to be pushing through Arizona and New Mexico. So look at the snow we could get out of this overnight on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. There is the risk for some stronger storms. I'll show you that in a few seconds on Wednesday in this area. But I think what we're going to have to watch is when this wave finally ejects on Thursday for the greatest risk of severe storms again, possibly from eastern Texas into the lower Mississippi River Valley. But first, over the next 72 hours, the wave that's diving to the south, we could pick up 40 to some places 100 inches of snow in the Sierra Nevada. There is a wave at the end of that last animation coming into the northwest, which is adding more snow to the Cascades. I like to see that. But just take a look at the snowfall coming in here to the Four Corners states, upper Colorado Basin. This is critical snow late in the season. And if we switch our attention here to the system that's out ahead of all of this, there could be a region in through here that picks up 6 to 10 inches of snow, according to the National Digital Forecast Database, right in through this area. And I just want to show you what's still going through New England. The snowfall totals here, this is still what's to come from the low that's still spinning here from the severe weather outbreak on Sunday from the southern plains. So that's just in the near term. Now, speaking of severe weather, tomorrow on Wednesday, we're going to be watching this corridor right in through here. Now, this is not the big event. The bigger one is coming after that on Thursday. And this is the area that the Storm Prediction Center has now increased the enhanced risk from eastern Texas all the way to Mississippi. To kind of get a good idea on that one, I need to flip over to the comparison of the GFS to the European model. So we've already played through the next 60 hours or so. So let's watch this next low emerging out of the Four Corners states. Again, out ahead of it, there'll be a front that's stalled in through here, and that's the one we're going to watch on Wednesday for the stronger storms. Okay, but as we go into Thursday midday, Thursday evening, that's when this low ejects. And again, you can see the model putting down the thunderstorm kind of region right in through here. The dry line will advance east. There'll be plenty of moisture and a deep layer of shear here. I'm talking maybe over 100 knots of shear in the lowest 5 kilometers of the atmosphere. So we're quite concerned about the severe weather there. Now, as this low continues to move through Missouri and into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, the most important shift has been that instead of this low going almost right over Paducah, it's now over Effingham. And as a result, that northward shift has pushed the snow on the backside a bit farther to the north in both models. And as it continues to go into southern Wisconsin and Michigan, this low continues to lift like they all have. Remember that flow, just like that, into New England. And we're going to see how much snowfall we could expect here out of New England as well with this system. Could be some very, very heavy amounts here into New England. In fact, let's go look at that real quick. Let's pull up these latest snowfall totals. Here we go. So this is from the European model today. So if we just take a look at where that snow is going to be, there's your totals through the next week or so. So there will be places in New England. Notice this is getting down almost to New York City, but this is going to really hit the interior hard with possibly over a foot of snow. But it's this corridor in through here that's continued to shift farther to the north in each new forecast run. All right. From here, though, let's get a bigger picture idea on this precipitation. And what we've got here is the next 10 days. And it'll be after this 10-day time period, I think the pattern's going to begin a pretty significant shift. And what I'm talking about here is if you look out there about March 8th, we still see it, right? Trough in the west, southeastern ridge. I mean, that's been very familiar to us for the last month. But going toward the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, it seems that the southeastern ridge is kicked out. There's a high over low block setting it between the Bering Sea and North Pacific, and the jet is just going to go farther south of it and become quite zonal, it appears. Now, when you think about the position of the jet, remember that as it makes this retraction, from this retraction to an equatorward shift, it's actually going to be looking something like this. And remember, wherever the jet stream is, just if you're north of it or along it, it's going to be cold. To the south of it, it's going to be mild. So that is going to keep the pattern active through this area, but allow more colder air to advance across more of the United States. And in today's report, I show you the month-to-date temperature statistics, and you're going to see that it's going to change considerably. So where do we expect it to be wet? Along the stronger flow. From California in through the plains, this is great, into the southeast where we've already had a lot of precipitation. Watch what it does to the temperatures, though. Remember, this is coming after March 8th. So here's today's highs compared to normal. We have tomorrow on Wednesday, getting into Thursday. Now that bigger system ejects on Thursday, so it's going to bring a lot of colder air in on the back side of it. And again, we're going to watch through this corridor for some snow on Thursday night into Friday morning. Then we play out here to Saturday and Sunday, and there's already a rebound happening. Remember, though, this is only through the 6th. You're going to start to see the pattern change once we get out there past that time frame, which is right about here. Now, keep an eye on the depth and extent of this cold as I play you through the second week of March. And now you see it beginning to advance farther and farther to the east across the United States. Now, the big questions we're trying to answer is how long does it last? Because for many throughout the South, Mid-South, Southeast, this is the time of year we're trying to get a new crop established. And colder air is not the right recipe here. The problem is with that colder air, it's also going to be quite wet into those areas as well. So good news about this new forecast from March 10th to April 10th is that we now see less risk of being drier here. More precip coming into Colorado, Kansas. This is an area that's been drier. And the West Coast went over wetter in the newest forecast as well. But this will probably produce regional flooding and more active severe weather. And the advancement of this colder air its duration could be through much of the rest of March. We'll have to get out there past that third week to really see if this is going to evolve. So keep an eye on this with me as we go forward. Lastly, I do want to show you that over the last couple of months, the flooding we continue to talk about down here in central Brazil is really showing up on the standard precipitation index maps. And I link in today's report a great video to show you what some of that flooding looks like in Mato Grosso do Sul. But the forecast going forward just is a repeat. We're wetter than normal in this area, continuing the flooding problems. A little drier farther to the north, but this is not a problem for the crops. But the heat and dry conditions are back firmly into Argentina, outlasting nearly all of my forecasts for what I thought we'd see by the end of the month of February. So this is going to continue to be a major concern as we go forward into Argentina, continue to eat away at their total productivity. All right, we'll stop it there. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.